Tremendous here. Got another battle report for you. Battle report number 67. This is the Warbands tournament, game 3 of 3. So final game of this little tournament at the ADEPTICON. Tis I, Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Cons, versus the Punisher, the Kingdom of Aquitaine. Funny story. The Punisher is my normal Kingdom of Aquitaine opponent back in Louisiana. We drove up there together. And in turn 2, they wanted to team us against each other, or put us against each other anyway for this tournament. But then they realized we both came up together. They didn't want to do that, so that I ended up against Eric West. The Punisher ended up against someone else. And then we both did really well. Or actually, I shouldn't say really well. We both got about the same thing, so we were tied for points. And there was only like 16, I think, people there. And to put us up against anyone else would have been unfair, so we had to play each other. The TOs apologized, but hey, what can you do? We were fighting for, placing and stuff, best general, best overall, stuff like that. So we had to play against each other, and it was a brother against brother game, and damn, is it a good one. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see how this one goes. The scenario for this one was really, again, right out of the book, not a big deal. Deployment was encircle, and the secondary objective was hold the ground. I believe I was the defender, not 100% on that one, but, I mean, the deployment is more or less the same regardless. We're still going to be, that 15 and 9 and all that other stuff. So, right out of the book, hold the ground is just, have the scoring unit in the dead center of the board. So, yeah. Pretty much straightforward. Here's my list, which is the exact same thing from the previous 2 battle reports, because to change it would be cheating! And that would suck, because everyone would catch me. I still have my Shaman Skaz as my general. He's got 3 learned spells, has a Talisman of Shielding, and is using the Path of Thaumaturgy. I have my Khan. He's my BSB. He's got his Ogre Crossbow, Heart Ripper, Yeti Furs, and Troll Eater. And then, of course, I have my Mammoth Hunter, Lord Tremendous. He's got his Ogre Crossbow, the Obsidian Blade, the Armor of Fortune, Headhunter, and he's on his trusty Tusker, the War Teddy. I like this kit. I really do. For my core choices, I have a unit of 8 Tribesmen, the good old boys, with full command, Iron Fist, and a banner of Discipline. And then 16 Scraplings, the Randos, with nothing but bows. For my special choices, I have a Saber-Toothed Tiger, Bow Wowzer, and a unit of 6 Scrappling Trappers, the Favored Pets. In the Chain B section of my army, the stars of the list, let's be honest, I have my Frost Mammoth, Rufus! He's got a couple of Ogre Crossbows and the guys in the Howdah, but he's the one that everyone's afraid of, and rightfully so. And the enforcers of my army, my Rock-a-Rock Warhammer! And the rider with Lance is none other than Shyhammer himself. That's right, I took a piece of him, and I made it into a little orc model, and I put it on top there, and he's stuck in plastic resin stuff forever. I got a little piece of him in there. No, that's creepy and weird. I didn't do anything like that. It's a GW model. I apologize. But the ambulance is cool. That's going to do it for my list. I'm going to post my opponent's list, play some music. Feel free to pause it whenever you like to see what he took. My spells, I got Trial of Faith, Speaking in Tongues, and Wrath of God. I'm getting really lucky. I got Wrath of God in all 3 of my tournament games, so very pleased about that. I like Trial of Faith just because I like rolling off against my opponent to do damage. There's really no negative for me, and sometimes people let it off because it's a gamble, and I kind of like to gamble. So I'm happy I got this one, especially against my brother here, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Here's deployment. My opponent actually placed first. He rolled first, and when you're playing Kingdom of Aquitaine, it really doesn't matter who finishes first. Well, it doesn't matter if he finishes first because he doesn't get any bonuses. We just roll off. So it's in his best interest to deploy first, put everything out there so that I don't get any bonuses to my roll, and we just straight up roll off to see who goes first. So I saw where his stuff was. He's got a big unit of Crusader Peasants. He's got a couple of Knights of Spirit. He's got his he's got a oh gosh, a Grail Knight maybe on a Pegasus? I can't remember. And I think that's everything. Yeah, I think that's everything. He's got a smaller list. He's got a lot of characters. I think he's got a damsel running around on her own. So I just kind of set up. I put my Rock, Shyhammer, Warhammer on the left side there next to the forest. Their job is going to run over there. I want them to get in that big unit of Knights. There's no characters in it. The characters are in the other unit of Knights. So if I figure if I can slam in there, there's no characters, these toughness 6, that's a good fight, especially if I can get the charge. 3d3, strength 7 impact hits is huge. I got Rufus on the other side of the forest to charge with my Rock. That was my plan when I set this up. I figured 2 monsters into a lance, that lance is going to crumble. That's a lot of points. And then I'm in his flank. You know, I can turn around, go after him, while Lord Tremendous, the good old boys, and Bow Wowser just keep him at bay. I got Skaz behind Rufus to fire off his spells because I really don't need line of sight for anything. I have my trappers in the field just because it seems like the right place to put them. There was nowhere else really to put them. I thought about putting him in the forest on the right flank there in my opponent's deployment area, but I thought against it because by the time they get over to these knights and the peasants, they're not going to really be able to do anything. So honestly, I'm planning on using them as redirectors. And then I have the scraplings over to the right there because I'm hoping my opponent ignores them and gets in, and I can put him in the middle and secure the objective. The problem with that is this guy, my opponent, is like a brother to me. So of course I talked to him about the second game and told him what my plan was and everything, or what my plan with the scraplings was and how it worked and how it won me the game. So he already knows that trick. So I have no doubt that he's paying attention to scraplings, but I thought of that after the game. So that's it for deployment. Here's top of 1 after movement. My opponent won the roll to go first, and he comes forward. I mean, everything comes forward. It's just a wave of Aquitaine guys coming to kick my face in, and that's fine. I mean, I've got to meet him eventually. Now there's not as big of a rush for me to charge him, or move forward anyway, so okay. So yeah, that's it for movement. Nothing else happens. He doesn't really have any shooting. He's got the skull splitter, but I think he was out of range. And if he wasn't out of range, then he just didn't do anything. And in his magic phase, nothing happened. Either I was able to stop it, or it just was irrelevant. So here's bottom 1 after movement. And I don't know if you've seen any of my battle reports against Kingdom of Aquitaine, but they're all against my buddy here. And I'm scared to death of his lances. Scared to death of his lances. So I don't come forward at all with anything other than Skaz. He comes up into the forest because I wanted to do some Trial of Faith. I was trying to pop his Pegasus Lord. Stuff like that. Bow Wowser comes running over to the left side to get in the way of one of the lances, depending on how that works. I figured that would be the unit I need to redirect as opposed to anything else. So he comes running over to get between Lord Tremendous and Rufus while not blocking their charge arcs. The trappers readjust in the forest or in the field there to stop themselves, and the scraplings start making their way towards the center, but not in any real rush because, again, I want my opponent to forget about the scraplings. They're not a threat. Shh. Ignore them. But yeah, other than that, I back up a little bit. That's it for movement. The only thing that happened in the magic phase is I get a Wrath of the Gods off, and I put it right there. I figured, again, board control. He doesn't want to put his knights near it. You know, while he'll have like a 3-up armor, 4-up armor against whatever I throw at him with the Comet, and I think a 5-up ward, probably. Yeah, because it's going to be at least strength 5. He's not overly concerned about it, but at the same time, maybe he is. I don't know. But I put it there for board control and to do some damage to him if it comes down in his magic phase. But that's the only thing that happens in magic. Shooting is useless, so we go over here to top of 2 after movement. And again, he comes forward. I don't believe he tried to charge anything. I think that's wrong. I think he did try to charge something and failed. I stood and he didn't make it. But other than that, everything else just kind of moves forward. His Pegasus guy flies off the hill, gets behind the crusading peasants, and his damsel just kind of stays in the background. He doesn't want anything to charge her, but at the same time, he doesn't want to put her in danger. So that's really it for movement. Nothing happens in his magic phase except the wrath comes down. And it is pathetic. I do 3 wounds to the lance on the left there, and they make all their saves. I do 4 wounds to the unit on the right, and only one dies. One knight died from the Wrath of the Gods. That in particular knight must have had like some real shady dealings with like the Dark Forces or something, because that was the only one that took any damage. He made all of his other saves. So that makes me really, really nervous. I was really hoping that the Comet would do more. I was hoping that my magic and shooting would do more. And one knight has died. I'm in a lot of trouble. Nothing happens in his shooting phase, so here we are in bottom of 2 after movement. And I decide time to go for broke. His knights came up, the Comet's out of the way now. I'm going to go for it. Shyhammer and Warhammer, the Rock. Charge into that lance. It's a longer charge. It's like I need a 9 to hit him. He's like 16 away, and I nail it. I think I rolled like a 10. It was beautiful. So I slam into his knights with Shyhammer and Warhammer. Now I just gotta hope that my opponent doesn't make his insane saves like he usually does. Everyone else backs up. Like, I don't know what's going to happen over there, but I don't want to be, you know, too close to it if the hammers get just murdered, you know? The only thing I do is I send Bow Wowser up so that if the knights stick, that they can't countercharge the Rock into flank and kill him. So Bow Wowser comes up to kind of block the knights. Also, if he charges, he's frenzied. If he kills my dog, he has to overrun, which gives Rufus, Lord Tremendous, and the good old boys a really solid charge if he does that. My opponent is tired, okay? The day prior, we drove for almost 15 hours. He slept on an air mattress. I slept on a couch. I offered him the couch, just before you say anything. I offered him the couch. He wanted the air mattress, so we didn't sleep great that night. He's tired, and he doesn't do caffeine like I do. So I'm wired like a cokehead, and he's sleepy. So I'm trying to play that to my advantage as well. Other than that, the trappers stay put and the scraplings move over because I want to start shooting at his crusading peasants just to do whatever little damage I can. Everything else backs up, and that's it for movement. There's a better picture of Shyhammer and Warhammer slamming into his Lance and Knights, and I'm really, really hoping that that goes well. Kind of the whole thing hinges on this, I'm not going to lie. My whole strategy hinges on this. During the magic phase, I get the Test of Faith off against his BSB, and I do 1 wound to him. He rolled a 1, I rolled a 2. So yeah, I did a single wound to his BSB. I was trying to snipe him, I was trying to take him out of there, and I did a third of his wounds to him. But, you know, better than nothing. I'll take it. So we go into combat, and the hammers are amazing. Number 1, my opponent failed his rerollable fear check. He was rolling high. Then, with impact hits, I kill 4 guys. 4 guys eat it from impact hits. It was beautiful. He does his attacks, is not able to wound the hammers. They're just not having it. In return, I believe Shyhammer was able to kill 1 more guy. He made all his other saves, and I didn't roll that great to hit and wound. So I have charge, 5 wounds to Banner. Okay, so he loses by 5. -1 leadership for fear. General was too far away, but his BSB wasn't. He fails, he flees, I have to pursue, he gets away by an inch. But that's okay. Next turn, if they rally, the hammers will come after them again. I'm very pleased about this. The left flank is mine. It's a very strong position, and nothing is in position to countercharge. This is awesome. So with that, we go over to top of 3 after movement, and my opponent's pissed, okay? He outplayed me over here on the right flank. I did not realize that his general on the peg could see my scraplings. I did not realize it. The angle was weird to me. So when he declared a charge against him, I'm like, can you see him? Oh my God, could he see him? He could see the 2 on the left, no problem. I totally mislooked at that. I should have looked closer. I was paying too much attention to the left flank, and so he gets into the scraplings. But I'm hoping that the scraplings that stood up to the charge from the crushers can stand up to the charge from the peg knight. We'll see what happens. Well, the paladin or the grail knight on a Pegasus. His other lance that's not fleeing charges into Bow Wowser and makes it no problem, and his other lance rallies and stands and looks at the Rock going, oh crap, we know it's coming. The crusading peasants move up because he's not afraid of anything that I have left in the back ranks there, and that's it for movement. There's a better picture of his general slamming in my scraplings, and like I said, he knew what I was trying to do with him. I totally understand why I went after him, and he outplayed me here by just perfectly positioning his general. I didn't think he could see him until I looked at his perspective, and I was like, oh, yeah, you can see him for days, so well played. There's a better picture of his lance slamming into Bow Wowzer, and that's fine. That's exactly what he's there for. I don't believe anything happens during the magic phase. He's just not having a whole lot of luck in that phase. But in the shooting phase, his damsel has the skull splitter and puts a wound on the Skaz, which is fine. Skaz is used to bleeding. And then we go into combat. The Scraplings get slaughtered pretty severely. They do get one wound through on his general, as you can see by the little token. That really shocked us both, I gotta be honest. But they get one wound through, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 die. I lose this combat. I am stat fast, but only on I think a 5, because this thing causes fear. But I break, and they get run down. And what's really sad is my trappers, they break and flee as well, and they don't come back. It really sucks. And then over here, yeah, they kill the dog, no problem. I think the dog does a wound or two, but it just beats up a shield a little bit, and that's it. So, oh well, since they're frenzied, they had the overrun, and they end up right there, which is very good, because that's easy charge range for the rest of my army. I'm hoping this works out. So with that over, here's bottom of 3 after movement, and I charge. Everything charges. Shyhammer, Warhammer, he charges the knights. The knights fail their terror check and run off the table. I pursue, and I actually hit the table edge as well. So Shyhammer and Warhammer are off the table. They're turning around to face, but that lance is gone, which is awesome. Rufus and Lord Tremendous charged his other lance, and both of them make it, which is great. And then, of course, I send the good old boys into the Crusading Peasants, because why not? Meanwhile, Skaz comes out of the forest because I need to start trying to put some wounds on his damsel, and being in the forest isn't going to protect me from the Skull Splitter, and his general's way out of position. And like I said, the trappers run off the table because they fail to rally. That's it for movement. There's a better picture of Rufus and Lord Tremendous slamming into his lance, and the good old boys slamming into his Crusading Peasants. There's a better picture of Shyhammer and Warhammer holding it down, the enforcers beating up a lance in single combat. Oh, I was so pleased with them right now. Nothing happens in magic or shooting, so we go into combat. Rufus and Lord Tremendous are able to do enough damage to that unit to win. I think I kill all but 3. In return, Rufus takes a wound, and really all this stems from Rufus's -3 initiative ability. I got all of my attacks. My opponent only got 3 back without the lance thing. They broke. Lord Tremendous and Rufus pursue. Lord Tremendous runs them down. Rufus only went forward like 3 or 4 inches, but that's perfect. I couldn't have asked for that to go better, because now Rufus is still within 6 inches of the Crusading Peasants, which means the good old boys are going to get every single one of their attacks, which might just save their lives. Yeah, that couldn't have gone any better. I'm very pleased. So we go into combat over here, and I get every last one of my attacks, right? So look at all those bodies, right? Granted, some from stomps and impact hits, but I get every single one of my attacks, and he still kills 9 tribesmen, or 3 tribesmen, does 9 wounds to my unit. I win this combat. He's stubborn as hell, and he doesn't go anywhere, but holy crap. That unit would have blendered me to death had it not been for Rufus allowing the good old boys to get all their attacks in. If he had all of his ranks in there, that unit would have been vaporized before they could have so much as swung a single attack. That's why I keep Rufus in the list. Well, one of the reasons. So, it's going my way. So with combat over, we go over here to top of 4 after movement. Not a whole lot. Is Damsel runs over so she can't be charged by Rufus or Lord Tremendous. Smart. And then his general runs over, or flies over, I should say, to use his Dragon Lance on Rufus. That's really about it for movement. Nothing happens in the magic phase, but in the shooting phase, the damsel is able to use Skull Splitter to put another wound onto Rufus, which hurts my feelings. And then his general uses his Dragon Lance to put yet another wound on Rufus. So he's still got 3 wounds left. He might survive this game. We go into combat, and I think I'm able to kill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. In return, he kills another one of my tribesmen. 5 banner BSB to 3 wounds and a banner. He loses by 3. He's still stubborn and makes his check no problem. Moving right along, here's bottom of 4 after movement. Shyhammer and Warhammer climb up on the hill to just kind of overlook, see where they're going to try to charge next turn. Lord Tremendous and Rufus do the same thing, looking at the Crusader Peasants. Just, it's time for them to go. Skaz runs into the forest because I'm going to try to test the faith his general to death, and that's it for movement. during the magic phase, the Trial of Faith works. His general takes one more wound. I think he rolled a 3 and I rolled a 4 or something like that, so I won by 1. It's that, I'm nickel and diming his characters. It was so close, but hey, I'll take what I can get. We go into combat and I finish off the unit. I kill every single infantry he has left. The reliquary is all that's left. I take no damage in return. And yeah, we sit there because he makes his stubborn check, no problem. So with that, here's top of 5 after movement, and he does the only thing he can do. He sends his general into the rear of the good old boys. That's probably going to spell the end for them, but what can you do? His damsel, I think she fails her march check, so she just ends up right there. Just like slightly back, so Lord Tremendous and Rufus can't charge her, but what he can't get out of is the Rocker Rocks charge arc, so if he can get a hold of her, it'll be a light snack. That's really it for movement. There's a better picture of his general joining this fight. During a magic phase, I don't remember what spell he gets off. I think it's... I don't remember. I think it's the spell that makes it so that he's +2 initiative, +2 weapon skill, but I don't remember exactly. But in order to get that spell off, I let it go off because he ends up miscasting, and he miscasts 15. It's not a huge big deal in the end. I think he loses a spell, and he takes 1 wound on his character. That's it. So really rolled well on his miscast rolls, and considering it's such a late turn, losing that spell isn't a huge big deal. But yeah, miscast 15. I'll take it. We go into combat, and his general challenges, and I'm like, oh, hell no. So I told my unit champion to take it, and she did, and he rips her to pieces. Just straight up kills her. I think I do a few wounds to his reliquary, not a ton. I think I actually lose this combat, but because I'm steadfast, because I have a rank, and he does not, I actually make my break check and stay. Wow. Usually at this point that unit would have broken, got ran down, so I must have done something right because everything's just kind of going my way. Here's bottom of 5 after movement, and thanks to the good old boys staying, Lord Tremendous and Rufus charges Reliquary. I just want to kill the stupid thing off. I don't even care what happens. Shyhammer and Warhammer charge the damsel, and she flees, and actually she didn't even have to because I think I rolled about 3 inches. That's why he only moved a couple. he's barely moved at all, but she flees and gets away, and Skaz runs over to try to test a faith, trial of faith, whatever it is, her, just like he's been doing to the BSB and the general, and that's it for movement. There's a better picture of Rufus and Lord Tremendous joining this fight. We go into combat, and I believe my BSB ends up in a challenge with his general, and we just butterfly kiss each other, nothing happens, it's limp slaps for everybody. Rufus and Lord Tremendous's combined impact hits could not kill the reliquary. Either I didn't wound or it made its ward saves or a combo of the two. But with charge, flank, rear, all the bonuses, BSB, banner, and everything like that, to very few wounds, if any, I win this combat, but the reliquary's stubborn, and the general makes his break check. So we're still in this fight. So here's top of 6 after movement, and there's very little. His damsel rallies, turns to look at Skaz, and that's it. Everything else is deader in combat. We go straight into combat. He doesn't even want to bother with magic, and my BSB is able to slip a couple of wounds through on his general and kill him. Rufus and Lord Tremendous and the good old boys are able to finish off the reliquary. We all turn to face the damsel, and it's it's looking really good for the ogres. We go to bottom of 6, and I choose not to charge a damsel because I don't want anything getting in the way of my good old boys getting in the center of the table. So I march forward 12 inches to get my corner within 6 inches of the center of the table. I'm guessing, I'm not really sure exactly where it's at, and everything else just stays put. I shoot, I fire some magic at her, nothing happens, the damsel survives, and there's the end of the game. So, yeah, this game, I needed a big win, and I got a big win, and it wasn't like my opponent wasn't trying, just unfortunately for him the dice gods favored me a little bit more than they did him. This game really went well for me, and you know what, since it's game 3 of 3, and I was going for best general. We were fighting for best general. It was us and another table. Two guys at another table were fighting for best general. I didn't think I had a chance for, best overall or anything like that, but I figured best general was within my grasp, and this really gave me the opportunity to at least be a contender. I wanted to place well, and you'll see how I placed in a minute. I'll show you. But this was a great game, and I can't wait to get to the recap. So let's go ahead and do that, because this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So, as you can see, it was a victory for Lord Tremendous. He got 290 out of me, I got 2,679 out of him, which gave me a 17-3. There was a difference of 2,389 between us, and in the end, though, I got the objective, which gave me +3 and him -3 for a 20-0. Couldn't have gone any better for me. I ended up losing my Scraplings, Bow Wowser, and my Trappers. I hated doing this to my brother, but at the same time, it was game 3 of 3 of an Adepticon tournament. We both wanted to win, we both went for each other's throats, and I just came up on top. I got lucky, but better lucky than good any day. Shyhammer and Warhammer did amazing. They took a lance out by themselves. Now, granted, that's something you should be able to do, but they've never really done anything like that before. The Rufus Lord Tremendous combo into the other lands with a BSB was unstoppable. They both did max impact hits, did a ton of wounds. It was beautiful. They really did well. Lord Tremendous's Obsidian Blade cuts through armor because, there's no armor saves against it. That was a really good charge for me. The good old boys surviving against the Crusader peasants, I put that right at Rufus's feet, giving them -3 initiative and allowing the good old boys all their attacks is the only reason that unit survived, period. And later on, when his general slammed in there, the Dice God saved me. I got so lucky that with that D3 wounding weapon of his that I was able to survive and keep him there long enough for Rufus and Lord Tremendous to charge in and finish off everything else. Plus, Khan taking out his general finally was a huge boon. And the fact that Skaz didn't blow himself up, I'm so proud of that little rat bastard. I really am. Everything really produced for me in this game, and it was critical. Like I said during the report, my opponent was exhausted. He doesn't caffeine like I do, so I was bouncing off the walls, and he was trying to keep his eyes open. So I think that helped a lot, but it also helps that I've played a lot of games against him. I know his army as well as he knows mine, so there wasn't a whole lot of surprises for either of us. The TOs were very apologetic that we had to fight against each other. We drove 1,000 miles to complete a tournament, but there was no choice. We had almost the exact amount of battle points. I think actually he had a couple more than me, but it was too close. The two other guys we had both already fought. There was no way we could face them again, and it'd be fair to everyone else. So the only legal and honest thing to do was to make us fight each other, and that's what they had to do. So, not the way I would have preferred to end, but I still got a great game against a great opponent, and who am I to complain about that? But like you saw, this is a really, really great game. This is what a fantastic opponent. One of my best buddies, one of the absolute greatest, guy, and it was a great game. I really enjoyed it. I love this guy, like a brother or, a stranger. Whichever, you go with it wherever you want. I did have to walk home after this. He wouldn't drive me back to where we were staying, but, I'm still looking forward to a rematch, and I think eventually he'll talk to me again. So, like I said, we were fighting for best general. I was fighting for best general. I didn't think I had a chance in hell against best overall, and I didn't paint my model, so I wasn't going to get best painted. I'm a dick, so I'm not going to get best sports. So I was really hoping to get best general, and I ended up winning best overall in the Warbands tournament. Oh my god, I can't even begin to tell you how disappointed I was when he was like, best general went to blah, and I was like, damn, I missed it. I had no inkling at all that I had won best overall. So when he did best overall, it was great because Brian, the TO goes, drove all the way up from Louisiana, and I'm so stupid when I go, how did the Punisher win it? That's crazy. So, yeah, Yeah, never won anything like this at all at a GT. I've won a couple of local game store tournaments, and I know this wasn't a GT. I know this wasn't a huge 100-man tournament or anything like that. But you know what? It was my first ADEPTICON tournament ever. It was the biggest event I'd ever been to, and the Warbands, granted, it was only 3,000-point games, but it was cool to win best overall. I've never done that before. It comes with a big-ass medal, came with some models. It was a cool thing. It definitely pumped me up, and I did a happy dance. I'm not even going to lie to you. Here's a picture of what I ended up winning and, for taking best overall in the Warbands. I got a Karl Franz model, which is actually very difficult to find. It's very cool. I'm toying with the idea of turning it into a Manicore, because this summer I'm going to be getting a Warrior of the Dark Gods army. And honestly, I'm just looking for a reason to use the model. It's very cool. I also got some Arena Rex Barbarian Gladiator type guys. No idea what I'm going to do with those, but it's just cool to have them. It's a very cool set of models. And of course, my badass medal, which I'm very pleased about. And yes, it is hanging up on my bedroom walls. I don't care. I'm geeking out about it. I've never won anything like this before, and I am tickled by it. So... one of the great things about this for me, not only is winning it and everything like that, because I did really take a sense of accomplishment for it. I don't care if that's a dick thing to say, it's true. I was very proud of myself. But I also thought it was really cool because I've never seen a battle report where the guy goes from game 1 to game 3 and ends up winning best overall. So you kind of get to go through the journey with me. You see, you don't have to 20-0 everybody in order to do it. You just got to hope everybody else plays as bad as you do. So it's kind of a neat thing to be able to watch at. I'm pleased I'm able to do that on my channel. I'm pleased that you guys get to go on the journey with me. And I'm pleased I won a medal. You know, I haven't done anything like that since high school. So... But absolutely fantastic, and I'm glad that this set is up now and posted to YouTube. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed earning it. So, yeah. Real quick, I'm going to take a break from patting myself on the back to say thank you to the people that support me financially through PayPal, Patreon, and other means. Most of the individuals that do so want to stay anonymous, and I have to respect that. However, these are the individuals that allow me to thank them properly, and so I am going to do so now. Alex, the Veil Renegades, South Florida's Gamermancy team, Daniel Jolson, and Caillou Choi. Thank you guys all, both anonymous and the individuals that allow me to thank them properly. I appreciate your patronage, and I hope I continue to be worthy, especially after content like this. Seriously though, guys, thank you very much. So, ADEPTICON is the biggest event I've ever been to. Convention, con, whatever you want to call it. I've never been to anything else like it. I've been to other GTs, but never anything this massive. And to have thousands, literally thousands of people running around and doing everything, this particular tournament, the first one out of the 3 that I'm in here, was incredibly well run. Run better, or as good or better than any other GT I've been to, and it's all due to the TOs. Seriously, you guys, thank you very much. I would say their names, but I don't know if they want me to, and I don't have permission, so I'm not going to do that. Everyone, without exception, were amazing players and really, really cool people. Everybody was awesome. Everybody was, you know, in good spirits, win or lose. There was no pouting. There was no rage quitting. It was amazing. The room that we were in was huge, spacious. You know how sometimes you go to a GT and it's cramped? Not at all. Plenty of room to stand around and enjoy the game. Stupid amounts of fun the entire time from beginning to end. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm still in shock that I actually won something. I mean, you've seen my battle reports. I'm not the guy that wins. But seriously, I cannot say enough good things about ADEPTICON. Just from the Warbands thing alone, but I'm also in the team tournament and in the GT, but I'm going to talk about them all right now, or, you know, to just kind of lump them all together. It was amazing, and if you haven't been, or if you're on the fence about going, go to this con, guys. Next year, I think it's going to be around the same time. It's worth it. I plan on being there. Hell, high water, or crippling debt, I'm going to be there next year. I gotta defend my title, you know? But it's just so much fun and so well done, and everyone is so cool. Again, can't say enough good things about it. Go to ADEPTICON, please. You will not regret it at all. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Battle Report number 67 is officially in the history books. I really hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. It was a real treat to put this up. It was a real treat to be able to go through this whole journey type thing and have this kind of outcome. And honestly, I just really enjoy doing these. So I hope you guys are still enjoying them. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.